Welcome back, children. Let us continue with chapter 1, the living world. The components of the ecosystem. Already you have known about the ecosystem. Ecosystem is composed of community of living organisms which interact with the non-living environment. So we can say that the ecosystem is made up of two major components, the biotic component and abiotic components. The biotic components are considered to be the living components. Abiotic components are the non-living components. The biotic components are made up of the plants and animals, whereas the abiotic components are made up of the soil, air, sunlight and water. The abiotic component are referred to be non-living. Let us look into some of the examples of these abiotic and biotic components. First, let us look into the biotic components which we consider as the living component. For example, the dog, the cat, the human, the fish, the worms, and you can add up many more living organisms into this category. Whereas the abiotic, which refers to the non-living component, it consists of the temperature, moisture, light, soil, air currents. You can also take up the mountain, the hill, the river, the ocean. All these things are considered to be the non-living component of the ecosystem. So let us look into the difference between these two living and the non-living components. The living components, which we call as the living organisms of an ecosystem, has some characteristic features. So what are these characteristic features? They are the growth. So the living organism undergoes the process of growth. They are born and they undergo the process of growth and development during their lifetime. The living organism undergo the process of metabolism, which involves the physiological activity of the body. The non-living organisms do not show growth and metabolism. The living organisms can breathe, they can respire, they take in oxygen, give out carbon dioxide. The non-living organisms do not breathe. The living organisms have well-developed nervous system. As a result, they can respond to the stimulus. They can undergo the process of irritability. Whereas non-living organisms do not undergo the process of irritability. They do not respond to any stimulus. The living organism exhibit the process of excretion. They can eliminate the waste products due to the presence of well-developed excretory system. Whereas non-living organisms do not undergo the process of excretion. The living organisms undergo the process of reproduction. They can give birth to their young ones, whereas non-living organisms do not undergo the process of reproduction. The living organisms show the presence of movement of their body parts, whereas the non-living organisms do not move. The living organisms can move from place to place, but the non-living cannot locomote. The living organism require food for the process of growth and development and to carry out their work, whereas the non-living organisms do not eat any food. Clear? So these are some of the characters of the living organisms which differentiate them from the non-living organisms. Along with that, the living organisms also have the cellular organization and they can maintain a balanced internal functions of their body, which is not seen in the non-living organisms. Now, the observations made by the scientists have led to the classification of the living organisms into two categories. One is considered to be the living and other category is considered to be the non-living thing. The living organisms are totally dependent on the non-living component of an ecosystem. So there is an interrelationship and there is an interaction between the living and non-living organism, which made the scientists to classify these organisms into different categories. Let us move on to the next topic called as the classification. Imagine if you are entering into a library and you are finding the books all scattered, what will happen? It will be very difficult for us to select the book that we are interested in. So, if the books are not arranged in a well organized manner, people will waste a lot of time in finding a book. So, the books are very beautifully organized in the shelves for the people to select the books that they like to read. In the libraries, the books are organized as novels, kids' story books, science fiction books, and other categories. Clear? Likewise, it will be really impossible to study all the living organisms if they are not categorized. So it becomes very necessary to devise some methods, some means to make this possible, to make the arrangement of the organism possible, to identify the organism possible. A method is required. So the process which helps in the identification of organism, arranging the organism into different group, is called as the classification. So the classification is a process which helps us to identify and categorize the organisms into different groups and makes it easy for us to recognize the organisms. Process of classification. What do they really do in the process of classification? So classification is a process by which the things are grouped in convenient categories, which is called as the taxa. So taxa is a category where the organisms are grouped into. We have different categories like species, genus, family, order, class, phylum, kingdom, into which the different animals are grouped. The taxa indicates the categories of the different levels. So, each level is called as a taxa. Each level into which the organisms are classified are called as the taxa. Based on the characteristic features, all the living organisms can be classified into different taxa. So once we study the different characters of the organisms, we can group them into different taxa. The science of classification is called as the taxonomy. So this method by which we are arranging the organism into different categories or in different taxa is called as the taxonomy. And this is based on characterization, identification, nomenclature and classification, which is the basic for the process of taxonomy. So what is taxonomy? Taxonomy is the science of classification. What is classification? Grouping the organism into different category is called as the classification. What is taxa? Taxa is referring to the different categories or different levels in the classification. Basic need for classification. So what is the basic need for classification? In order to identify and differentiate closely related species. To know the variation. Variation refers to differences among the species. So classification is very essential in order to identify and differentiate the closely related species as well as to know the variations or the differences among the different species, to understand the evolution of the species, the origin of the species, the growth process of the species, the ancestors of the species, and to create a phylogenetic tree among the different groups, as well as to conveniently study the living organisms. So these are the basic need for the classification. Now let us look into the taxonomy. The taxonomy is the science of arrangement of living organisms along with classification, description, identification and naming of organisms. So here Aristotle is called to be the father of taxonomy. So he was the one who contributed a lot in the field of taxonomy. Next comes the Linnaeus, considered to be the father of modern taxonomy. Augustine Pyramus de Candolle was the person who coined the term taxonomy. So these are some of the contributions made by the scientists in the field of taxonomy. Let us look into main criteria of systematics. Systematics and taxonomy are more or less the same and they have the same objectives. They are very similar, they have the same goal, they have the same objectives. Their main criteria is identifying the organisms, then describing these organisms which they identified and give them some names, accordingly arrange the organisms and preserve the organisms, as well as document the organisms, note down the evolutionary history of the organisms, as well as to note down the environmental adaptations of these organisms, also to establish the interrelationship between the species. So these are the main criteria of the systematics. So systematics and taxonomy are more or less the same and they have the same objectives. Clear, children? So let us continue with the next topic in the next video class. Thank you, children.